And one more thing for the girls that are listening, just in our last bit, this has been such an amazing interview, by the way. I could talk to you all day. I'm sure everyone has so much knowledge from you. Girls that are listening, I'm going to call them women, but I feel like there's a lot of girls around and they are searching, I think, for, I'm going to call it, I don't know if it's really attention. I think it's just, when someone says, good girl, you've done well, like it's like that type of. What advice can you give to women to maintain, because I just think beautiful things don't need to demand attention, and the same goes for businesses, the same goes for branding. So what advice can you give women of today just to, I'm going to call it, clean up a bit, because I think that's something that we're missing in our culture now.
So I'm going to go back to what you just said, how people like to have that good job. Do you know what right parenting is? Have you ever heard of right parenting? That's how we were raising my son, with the right parenting. So you don't want to tell your kids a good job because then they do something to get the good job from you. They don't do it because they want to do it. So whenever my son would do something cool, we wouldn't say, great job, Donovan. We just looked at it and we're like, wow, I like that. Found it, And then he would keep doing things, and he does it for himself, not for, hey, great job. So right parenting actually helps the kids as they grow up to not need to have that, oh my God, honey, great job. That was so good. I'm so proud of you. And that's why kids, I'm talking about boys and girls, have grown up to be softer, because they constantly need someone to give them that validation. When I will have a daughter, God willing, I will tell you what I would do for my daughter. And this is exactly what every woman out there should do in order to become successful, in order to stay happy, and become successful in the way that she wants to be successful. So if she wants to be a top CEO, that's completely fine. But if she wants to be the best mother in the world, that to me is the most important thing in the world. So if my daughter will be the best mother and the best wife, for me, that's the biggest blessing. Because I think men should work. And working as a man, it's because you need to be a provider. And I think that women should be raising children because no one could raise a child better than his mother. Nobody. Even though you guys did not come to the world with a manual book that says this is how you raise a child, you will still raise it so much better than anyone else because it's your child. It's just like a person that owns the business. The reason I gave people percentage in the business is because once it's their business, they treat it way better than an employee. So if you are a mom, you're going to do way better than the maid or the housekeeper or the babysitter. So if someone is looking to be a mother one day, I think the most important thing is to remember that a woman is the respect of the family. A man could be a drug dealer, he could be a druggie, he could be anything he wants to be. He'd be a loser. Nobody's going to talk bad about that family as bad as if the woman was a bad woman. And when I say bad woman, I'm talking about like super promiscuous, who's been with many men and just gave herself up extremely easy, And the same thing as if you have a daughter. If you have a daughter and she's doing the same thing, then guess what? The house looks extremely bad. But who are the people that people really look up to? Is the people that act like they are high value and they're aristocratic and they're dressed very well. Look at this beautiful blazer you're wearing. It just makes you look so nicely business oriented. Now you could be a mother to 3 kids, right? But I think as women, you must have the balance. So if you want to be a working woman, at least understand that when you have a child, in the first few years you need to be with your child. Definitely. It's very important so they don't feel neglected. So being next to them is very important. So maybe you work out of the house, but also at the same time work part-time. If you are a woman that is right now before that time and you are 20 years old and you want to truly do good for yourself, I'll go with you a little bit about statistics that I had to learn as I went into social media, because people want to know exactly like the statistics. And they're like, well, how do you know that fact? And I'm like, well, the clinical literature says that if a woman has been with more than 5 men or 5 men, then she is 20% likely to have a successful marriage. You know, but they really want to know where my statistics came from. So I have to show them and prove to them. But as a woman, the thing is that you are bonding with another person. And when you start having multiple partners, whether at the same time or one after the other, you lose value of what it is to make love for yourself. Let's say nobody knew of it. Let's say nobody's ever heard of it. Nobody knew that you've been with other people. But for you, you lose the ability to bond. And I could see it when I talk to someone who's never been with anybody. She's still like, oh my God, she could fall in love. She has that strong feeling. She wants you. She's gonna die for you, you know? And then, like, my favorite movie is The Notebook. And people are like, what? People would never know, but that's my favorite movie, is The Notebook. And I could watch it every single time. And in the end, I always drop tears. And I don't call that crying. I'm not crying. I'm just being a man and drop a tear, imagining, wow, what if I was in love like that? And at some point in time, my wife got Alzheimer's and wouldn't remember me. That's just so sad, you know? So looking back, I thought to myself, well, if I spoke to a woman that has never been with anybody, she is so happy, she's so ready for love, and she truly believes in love. And then you talk to somebody who's been with like 3 people, and she's still kind of there, but she almost kind of lost it because the men before that either hurt her, affected her, treated her a certain way, or also taught her, right? A lot of men are influence for women. So they taught her things that are not good things. Like, I met a girl who was a smoker. Well, she became a smoker because her ex was a smoker. Or I met a woman who has done many drugs in her life. And why was she doing it? Because her ex did that. Or one that was, you know, not doing anything with her life. And why? Because her ex was a bum and he was living with his family and there were being bums at his family's house, you know? So it's like you get all these bad habits, and then now I have to take you and try to teach you and correct you what is the best way to be. You know, you come, you stay at my place for 3 days, and I'm the one doing the dishes all the time, but you can't even like clean your plate and put it inside of a dishwasher. When there's a dishwasher, you don't even have to do it with your hands.
Yes.
And then I have to say, hey, sweetie, do you mind maybe just going ahead and rinsing it and just throwing it in the dishwasher? Or like trash, you know, she'll drop the trash and some trash will fall on the floor. She won't pick it up. Crazy. Little things like that of course there's way more things, but when you look at it, it's a single person and they act this way. What will happen if we have kids?
Yeah.
How will the house look then? You have 2-3 kids, the house is now a mess. And then you speak to girls who constantly say, well, I'm going to have a maid and I'm going to have somebody that's helping 24/7 and I'm going to have this and I'm going to have that. And everything that's important to her is what car she's going to drive, what bag she's going to have. And I'm a very simple guy.
Yes.
I'm an extremely simple guy. You could put me in the woods and you could put me like in a cabin and I could do bonfires for us and barbecue 3 times a day, and I'm good. As long as I have a woman that I love and my family, that's all that matters. I don't need social media. I don't need anything. All I need is the best.